Before they could take another step, a low, mournful sound reached their ears. It was faint at first, carried on the wind, but it grew steadier and clearer. A pained moan, echoing from a nearby rocky outcrop. Queitem's expression shifted. He knew the source of the sound.
Prakitim, he's injured.
Leading Shayakina down the slope, Queitem moved with a purpose. The narrow path twisted between the boulders and clusters of pine until they reached the entrance to a hidden cave, partially concealed by vines and moss. Stepping through the low, vine-covered entrance, Queitem and Shayakina found themselves in a cavern, unlike any other. Precious stones protruded from the walls, amethysts, quartz, and emerald-like crystals, each catching a faint glow that trickled in from the outside world. Their natural facets sent scattered beams of light dancing across the rocky interior, lending the space a quiet, otherworldly glow. At the cave's center lay Prakitim, propped awkwardly against a smooth boulder. His broad chest rose and fell in shallow breaths, and burn marks marred his arms and shoulders, raw, angry wounds that seeped the plahin, the silvery blood of the Pehuans. Shayakina's eyes brimmed with alarm at the sight.
Prakitim. Grandfather, he's badly hurt.
Queitem knelt, placing a hand gently on Prakitim's arm.
Easy.
Taking in the severity of the burns. With practiced calm, he closed his eyes and drew a deep breath. A soft glow shimmered at his fingertips, warm and golden. He guided his hands over Prakitim's injuries, and under that faint radiance, the wounds began to mend. Burned skin smoothened out. The silvery plahin ceased to flow. It was as though time itself rewound in those scarred places, sealing them shut. Prakitim let out a trembling sigh of relief as the pain ebbed. When the healing light receded, Prakitim looked up at Queitem with grateful, weary eyes.
Many thanks. I worried my strength was lost.
Shayakina hovered close, offering water skin she had filled from a small fountain in the cave. Prakitim took a curious sip, then mustered the will to speak.
It was a tall figure, cloaked in living flames. At first, its face was hidden, or perhaps it had none. It moved like fire given purpose, crackling and searing everything in its path. I was near the Temple of Antkana when the blaze erupted, and suddenly it was there. I tried to fight. I raised a wall of mud and stone, but its fire, it struck my barrier like a thunderclap, shattering it in an instant. I could do nothing as the flames consumed everything.
It hurled fire at you?
Like the inferno had a will of its own, pouring out of that being's body. I dodged what I could, but when it struck my barrier, the force nearly blinded me. Before I could muster another defense, it lifted me as though I weighed nothing and flung me across the courtyard. I struck the temple steps, then lost consciousness. When I came to, it was gone, vanished into the night. Never in my life have I felt so powerless. The temple, it must be in ruins.
Queitem listened intently, eyes darkening with each word. A single name formed at the back of his mind, an echo of ancestral warning. Tarsnam. But he spoke of it only in the silence of his heart. Neither Prakitim nor Shayakina heard him breathe the name. The elder rose, drawing in deep, measured breaths. Without a word, he moved to a bare patch of ground at the cave's center and sank into a meditative pose. palms resting lightly on his knees. The lines on his face softened and his posture grew utterly still. Prakitim and Shayakina exchanged a glance, saying nothing. They had both seen Queitem enter these deep states before, moments when he sought knowledge beyond the limits of mortal sight. Slowly, an orange aura blossomed around him, flickering like contained flame. The cave's crystals reflected his glow until space felt alive with shifting, luminous patterns. In the hush, Queitem's breathing slowed to a whisper, as though he was listening to something far away. For a moment, his eyes fluttered beneath closed lids, and a faint sheen of perspiration formed on his brow. Shayakina bit her lips, unsure whether to speak, but then Queitem exhaled, the aura receding from bright flame to a soft gleam. He opened his eyes with a quiet resolve.
The temple's inner sanctum, the pillars and walls are scorched, and the courtyard bears the imprint of something beyond our understanding.
A pause. He closed his eyes briefly, searching his vision's remnants. No intruder remains, but the damage is extensive. Prakitim swallowed hard, his jaw tight with the thought of sacred ground desecrated, violated.
What power could break our realm's protection like this?
Queitem shook his head.
The cloak woven by Elder Prakitim and others has been shaken at its roots. This is no small matter.
Still kneeling, Queitem bowed his head again, drawing in another slow breath. This time the glow that flared around him was steadier, more deliberate, like a beacon being lit at midnight. It pulsed through the cavern, flickering over every crystal facet. A subtle current of air stirred within, rippling across the stones and stirring Shayakina's braids. In the hush of that luminous moment, Queitem silently called out, his mind and spirit bridging the distances across mountains and valleys. He sent a single message to every Pehuan elder and family. Carry on the unseen threads that bound them together in Goddess Yahi's grace. After a long, weighty moment, he opened his eyes. The aura vanished, leaving only the serene glow of the cavern's gemstones. His gaze met Prakitim, then rested on Shayakina, as though seeking both strength and solace.
By dawn's first light, our people will gather at the Temple of Antkana. Together, we will face this, whatever it may be.
Prakitim nodded, his expression firm despite the fatigue etched into his features. Besides him, Shayakina hesitated, her small fingers curling into the folds of her tunic. Her grandfather's words hung heavy in the air, a weight she could not yet fully understand but felt deep in her chest. She stepped closer to Queitem, her wide eyes searching his face for reassurance, clinging to the warmth of his presence amidst the encroaching chill of the night. Outside, the night tightened its grip on the peaks, the silence fractured only by the occasional murmur of the winds through the pines. The stars above seemed dimmer, veiled by the weight of what lay ahead.